Fire destroys trailer home and shed in Newcastle. Defendant in St. George sentenced on 3 cases involving sexual exploitation, assault, and strangulation. And a look at what the Dixie Sunbowl may look like if renovation moves forward.
You're watching St. George News at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Amy Bennett. On Tuesday afternoon, a fire destroyed multiple structures in a remote area of Iron County just north of Newcastle. According to the Iron County Sheriff's Office, shortly after 1 p.m., deputies responded to a report of a structure fire. The 911 caller reported seeing smoke coming from a large wooden structure on their neighbor's property. Meanwhile, the family home located nearby did not sustain any damage and no injuries were reported. A defendant with a long history of sex crimes was sentenced on numerous charges including rape and forcible sexual abuse in 3 cases filed in Washington County. For more on this, here's Cody Blowers.
On April 11th, 21-year-old Avery Jared Anderson appeared in 5th District Court for sentencing on multiple charges in 3 separate cases filed in Washington County starting in 2022. Charges that include second-degree felony sexual exploitation of a minor, sexual abuse, and aggravated assault strangulation. And during Thursday's hearing, 2 of the 3 victims addressed the court and described the trauma that is still left in the wake of the defendant's actions. One of the young women mentioned Anderson's crimes in Gunnison. While Anderson was playing sports, he was accused of sexually assaulting multiple students during at least 9 separate incidences, crimes he pleaded guilty to in January of 2019. Instead of incarceration, the court ordered that Anderson leave Gunnison immediately, and 2.5 years after relocating to St. George, he was arrested on the first case involving the sexual assault of a 13-year-old. District Judge Keith C. Barnes had this to say.
Let me first address the victims in this case. Thank you for showing the courage that you've shown this court, to loved ones, to the community, to the people who feel powerless. I hope you know that the courage that you're showing will have a ripple effect of good for many other victims out there. This court gives respect and weight to what attorneys negotiate when it comes to a plea bargain. Here on each case, and it would be left up to this court, me, to decide credit for time served, or these 1-year sentences to run concurrent, or that you would be sentenced to jail 1 year.
Instead of serving time in prison on the cases, Anderson was sentenced to serve 3 years in Washington County Jail. He was also placed on 4 years probation and required to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life.
Thanks, Cody. The historic Dixie Sunbowl may be getting a new look as the city of St. George is looking to renovate the 77-year-old landmark. Here's Maury Kessler for more on this story.
The St. George City Council got a preview of the concept design for a renovation of the Dixie Sunbowl last week that expands seating while also carving a secondary venue area out of the downtown landmark's existing footprint. Members of the city's Park and Community Services Department brought a diorama of what the renovated Sunbowl will likely look like to a council meeting last Thursday. The council's response to the design was positive, with Councilwoman Natalie Larson saying she liked the area city staff called the Sunbowl Square. This area covers roughly half of the stadium grounds and is separated by a large seating structure from what will remain of the arena on the west side. The Sunbowl Square area faces 400 East, and city staff said it can be used for small events like concerts, dances, and even house temporary pickleball courts, while enough room remains intact on the western side for the annual Dixie Roundup rodeo. Renovation work is anticipated to start soon after the next rodeo in September.
Thanks, Maury. The off-road destination of Glen Canyon National Recreation Area may soon be a thing of the past. Lawsuits concerning off-road vehicle management against the National Park Service have reached a settlement agreement which could see revised rules for the area. Here's Stephanie DeGraw with more on the details.
The Southern Utah Wilderness Alliance and the National Parks Conservation Association have settled their lawsuit against the National Park Service over off-road vehicle management at Glen Canyon National Recreation Area. The settlement commits the National Park Service to propose a revised rule that better protects the environment and visitor experience of Glen Canyon National Recreation Area by limiting some of the off-road vehicles in the park's most delicate areas.
Thanks, Stephanie. Of the hundreds of people who work at rural healthcare facilities in Utah, only 7 each year are selected for an Impact Award by the Utah Department of Health and Human Services Primary Care and Rural Health Office. Washington County local April Terry was one of the 7 that have made a substantial impact of the health of their communities. For more on this, here's Chris Reed.
April Terry has made a big impact in Enterprise, whether as the chief volunteer EMT or as the lead medical assistant at the Main Street Family Medicine Medical Clinic. But that impact in what is considered a small town got a big honor as Terry was named one of 7 recipients of the Utah Health Department's Impact Award for making a substantial impact to the health of her community. Terry first came to Enterprise when she was 14, and she said the impact she has made was because of the impact of others.
Especially in the medical field, there's never an I. You don't do anything alone. You learn from other people in the process of, your education and then serving others. I don't think it'd be fair for anyone to say, no, I just did this all on my own. So absolutely, it's because of my coworkers and coworkers that I've had in the last 20 years of my life too, that have trained me, been patient with me. And that's how I wanted to serve others, just really taking a breath and being patient with everybody's different learning styles and skills and where they came from. I think that's what makes a difference.
Dr. Colton Bracken, an Enterprise native who founded the clinic in 2021, said Terry has been as much a part of the buildup of the clinic as anybody else.
She's been, incredibly instrumental in getting this clinic started. So we started the clinic back in 2021, and she was right here from the ground roots up. And honestly, we couldn't have done it without her.
Thank you for watching St. George News at 5. I'm Amy Bennett with St. George News, your #1 source for local news.
This has been St. George News at 5.